Once upon a time, in a small town nestled between tall green hills and a sparkling blue river, there was a fire station that stood proudly on Main Street. Inside this fire station lived Fireman Frank and his trusty little red fire truck named Blaze. The townspeople admired Frank for his bravery, and they adored Blaze for being the fastest and shiniest fire truck in the whole country. Every morning, Fireman Frank would check on Blaze. He polished his bright red paint, made sure the hose was coiled neatly, and tested the siren that went, "W-O, W-O." Blaze loved when Frank took such good care of him. Together, they were always ready to help anyone who needed them. One sunny afternoon, the fire station bell rang loudly. Dingling! Dingling! The town's bakery was on fire. Mrs. Brown, the baker, had been making her famous chocolate chip cookies when the oven started to smoke. She ran outside and called for help. Fireman Frank slid down the shiny brass pole, grabbed his helmet, and shouted, "Blaze, let's go! Someone needs our help." Blaze's engine roared to life, and they zoomed out of the fire station. The townspeople cheered as they sped down Main Street. The siren blared, "W-O, W-O," as the little red fire truck zipped past houses and shops, and children waved from the sidewalks. When they reached Mrs. Brown's bakery, thick black smoke was curling out of the windows. Fireman Frank jumped out of Blaze, grabbed the fire hose, and aimed it at the door. "Don't worry, Mrs. Brown. We're here to help," Frank shouted as he turned on the water. Blaze parked perfectly in front of the bakery, proud to be doing his part. Frank's steady hands aimed the hose, and a powerful stream of water shot out, cooling the flames that danced in the bakery's kitchen. With a hissing sound, the fire began to shrink. The smoke cleared little by little, and soon there was nothing left but steam. Mrs. Brown clapped her hands with joy, and Fireman Frank smiled as he stepped inside to make sure everything was safe. "You're all clear, Mrs. Brown," Frank said kindly. "But next time, keep an eye on that oven." Blaze honked his horn in agreement. "Honk, honk." Mrs. Brown wiped her brow and said, "Thank you, Fireman Frank. Thank you, Blaze. Without you two, my bakery would have been in big trouble." The smell of burned cookies still hung in the air, but Mrs. Brown wasn't upset anymore. She was just thankful that her friends had come to the rescue. The townspeople cheered again when Frank and Blaze headed back to the station. Everyone felt safer knowing that Fireman Frank and Blaze were always ready to help in times of need. As they drove back, Blaze noticed something ahead on the road. A little kitten was stuck up in a tall oak tree, meowing as loudly as it could. Fireman Frank spotted the kitten too and pulled over. "Oh no, poor little guy," Frank said. "We have to help him, Blaze." Blaze parked right under the tree, and Fireman Frank climbed onto Blaze's roof. "Here, kitty, kitty," Frank called softly as he reached up toward the kitten. The kitten, trembling and scared, meowed but didn't move. Fireman Frank knew just what to do. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a tiny treat. The kitten sniffed the air and, little by little, crept closer to Frank.